and then summary, right?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Thank you, bro. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrutyam Naram Chaivo Narattamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiraye Srimad Katha Krishna Punya Savana Kirtana Hridayantasto Hevadani Vidunoti Surisatam नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भगवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भाविति नष्टिकी मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुलङ्घयते गिरिं यत्किपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीगुरुदीनकारिणं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्य ईश्वरम् ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानजनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. Thanks everyone. So today's chapter is Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 3, and text 24 and 25, and then summary. Tatte niriksho napitapi dehakrut dakshamam yo visargayagya gatam bararumam anagasam durvacha sakaro tiraha. Translation. Therefore, you should not see your father, although he is the giver of your body, because he and his followers are envious of me. Because of his envy, O most worshipable one, he has insulted me with cruel words, although I am innocent. Purport. For a woman, both the husband and father are equally worshipable. The husband is the protector of a woman during her youthful life, whereas the father is the protector during her childhood. Thus, both are worshipable, but especially the father because he is the giver of the body. Lord Shiva remained, Lord Shiva reminded Sati, your father is undoubtedly worshipable, even more than I am. But take care, for although he is the giver of your body, he may also be the taker of your body. Because when you see your father, he may insult you because of your association with me. An insult from a relative is worse than death, especially when one is well situated. Next verse, 25. Uh,
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu, we can hear you now.
यदि यदि प्रजिष्यसि अतिथाय मद्वचो भद्रं भवत्या न ततो भविष्यति सम्भावितस्य स्वजनात् पराभवो यदा स सद्यो मरणाय कल्पते. Translation by Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. So if, in spite of these instructions, you decide to go, neglecting my words, the future will not be good for you. You are most respectable. And when you are insulted by your relative, this insult will immediately be equal to death. Thus end the Bhakti Vedanta purport of the fourth canto, third chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Talks Between Lord Shiva and Sati. नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नमे नमः सरस्वती गौरवाणी प्रचार्य निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे राम राम हरे. Thanks everyone for giving me the opportunity to speak on this verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. Um, so in this particular chapter is known as the conversation between the Sati and Lord Shiva, and this chapter like basically the subject matter of respect has been discussed, and uh, and also as a duty of a husband is to protect the wife, also advised here in this chapter. So, so if a so little bit background. So Daksha Prajapati organized the yajna sacrifice to which all the all everyone is invited, like except Sati and Siva. So but Mother Sati, she wants to join the sacrifice yajna, right? So Sati came to know about the grand yajna organized by her father and asked Shiva to attend the yajna. So then Lord Shiva refused her request, saying that it was inappropriate to attend a function without being invited. So he reminded her that, he reminded that them not being invited was intentional. So then Lord Shiva accordingly advised her to not to go to see Daksha. Um, Lord Shiva, being the great personalities, could predict what is going to happen, right? So still, he is giving her the advice, and he knew that Sati is sentimental to go and to see her, to see her parents. So, and then also, his prediction things will take place. So Lord Shiva says that not to seek Daksha because he is envious of your husband. And if you go and see him, he could give you, and you cannot defend your husband, it will give greater pain. So it is very clearly mentioned, Lord Shiva, that the yajna organized by Daksha actually basically is envious of Lord Shiva. And so Vaishnava Siddhanta philosophy says every living entity is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, and everyone should be respected. One should have this kind of respect to every living entity. So the reason behind the Daksha Prajapati, he was appointed the chief of the Daksha Prajapati, and he was very envious of Lord Shiva. That's why here is the Vaishnava philosophy says. So even though all the living entities are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, and one should have this kind of respect to all living entities, and the question of envy will never arise, right? And so it basically is envy is a matter of heart. So in that heart, if you have respect for everyone, then there is no place for envy to come. So and then it says samam sarvesu bhutesu, Bhagavad Gita chapter 13 text 28. So one who sees the super soul accompanying the individual soul in all bodies, and who understand that neither the soul nor the super soul within the destructible body is ever destroyed, actually sees, right? So if you look at the instruction of Lord Shiva, also he is not forcing Mother Sati to not to go, but rather giving his instructions. As we can understand it with another analogy, that every living entity has independence, right? And the Lord does not interfere in anyone's independence. Same way, when Lord Krishna also instructing, Arjuna, and he never forced him to do this. He never did. But instead, Lord instructed, okay, this is my opinion. If you, um, Lord Krishna every time says, this is my opinion, because Lord himself give respect to all the jivas. Every living entity has free will. So Lord doesn't interfere anyone's free will. That's what Lord never like force someone to do this. Okay. And similarly, same way, Lord Shiva is trying to instruct Mother Sati instead of forcing her, no, you cannot go. This is not what he's talking about. So that's why. So if you do not allow the people not to speak and always put your point, then this is due to the lack of a due respect. So due respect means acknowledgement of respect that the entities deserves, right? Or used to express polite disagreement in a formal situation. That's called due respect. So as a human, so as a Vaishnava or as a kind, no, as a human being, so you should have the due respect for everyone, each and every individual souls. So if you do not care for others, you do not value their time, And you said that mind time is very important. So then the due respect means you have to, so there is no due respect. So due respect means you have to take permission from other of their priorities and time. This is the kind of sensitivity we have to develop in the association of the Vaishnavas. And encroaching or the living entity's freedom is due to lack of the due respect. Daksha is envious of the Shiva's position in the universe. Daksha is not accepting that his position, and Daksha is not accepting that this is my position and then this is Lord Shiva's position, right? But he's not accepting his heart. That's why the envious nature is coming up. Most of the times, this envy happened because within our heart, we do not accept that this person deserves more than me. Okay, so what is there in the somebody's hand? So today, if there is one is more opulent than us, so tomorrow it may be go away. But that is different matter. But we have to honor and accept that. Then only we will be peaceful. Envy comes because we do not accept the truth as will of the providence. We do not bring God into picture. That's why the enviness comes into play. Sometimes when we compare, he was my choridos, for example, and now he's become like the CEO of a company. So we have to accept that there are many factors played by the providence of the God, like his previous karma, the material nature, and the will of the Lord. So if we consider this factor and bring God into this, then every nature will be subdued or overcome the envy. The modern societies, because of so much of competition, the comparison and paradigm is put into almost all the educated peoples. I should be more than he is. Everyone wants to be kind of successful, and everyone should be wants. I want more than someone else. That's the envious nature. So from the envy, the frustration comes, and then what happens? You will lose peace of mind, right? So that's what is there. And so in the summary, so what happened in the summary, like on this of Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4 and Chapter 3. So once Prajapati Daksha performed another sacrifice named Vajapeya sacrifice, and Sati insisted to go for the festival in her father's house, remembering the malicious, heart-piercing speeches delivered by Daksha before the guardians of the universal actors. The great Lord Shiva replied, "My dear beautiful wife, you have said that one may go to a friend's house without being invited. And this is true, provided such a friend does not find fault with the guest because of bodily identification and thereby become angry towards him. Although the six qualities education, austerity, wealth, beauty, youth, and heritage are for the highly elevated. One who is proud of possessing them becomes blind, and thus he loses his good sense and cannot appreciate the glories of great personalities. One should not go to anyone's house, even on the consideration of being a relative or a friend, when the man is disturbed in his mind and looks upon the guest with raised eyebrows and angry eyes. If one is hurt by the arrows of an enemy, so this is the instruction of Lord Shiva to Mother Sati. So if one is hurt by the arrows of an enemy, one is not be as aggrieved as when caught by the unkind words of a relative. We have to understand this sentence. So for such a grief continues to rend one's heart day and night. So my dear white complexioned wife, it is clear that of the many daughters of Daksha, you are the pet. Yet you will not be honored at his house because of your association with me. So Lord Shiva said that since his heart was always filled with the conception of Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because of the Supreme Lord's presence within his mind and heart. He was always offering obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In other words, Lord Shiva is always in trance or samadhi. And so this chapter, if I if I divide it, uh, so the verse number from 1 to 7 on this chapter is basically mentioned Daksha's sacrifice, and then verse number 8 to 14 is called Sati's desire, and then the verse number 15 to 25 is basically Lord Shiva's advice to Mother Sati. So, so in the summary of the verse from 1 to 7 is called is basically this is a tension continued between Shiva and Daksha, being appointed one of the chief Prajapatis, right? So Daksha become very proud with Brahma's support. He began performing sacrifices and invited all the sages and demigods. The demigods' wives came to the sacrifice very nicely decorated in fine clothing and costly ornaments. And so that's a summary. Mother Sati is explaining to Lord Shiva how the denizens of the heavenly planets came to with beautiful saris, dresses, and all. So like all the all the women get attracted such kind of the glamorous things, the sari, jewelry, and blah blah. So that's what is Mother Sati representing as a common woman. So she is so more desired to see those ladies over there. So that's the chapter from the 1 to 7, and then this is what the Sati's desire from chapter verse 8 to 14. Seeing that her father was holding a great sacrifice, Sati was anxious to decorate herself and go to the sacrifice with her husband. Lord Shiva, by attending the sacrifice, uh, then sorry, so Sati wants to go with her husband Lord Shiva, and by attending the sacrifice, she would be able to see her mother, sister, and the other relatives. That's the desire of the Mother Sati. So there is no harm going on uninvited. She begged her husband to kindly let her go to the festivals. Okay, so that's the Sati's Mother Sati desire. And then this is what Lord Shiva advised to Mother Sati. So then Lord Shiva tried to persuade his wife not to go to the sacrifice because he could foresee that she could be insulted by her proud father. Then the harass words from relatives are worse than sharp arrows of enemies, as much grief affects the heart day and night. That's very important statement. So if you have been kind of the arrows, if it's the army is it's compared between the harass war of a relative to an enemy's or the enemy's arrow. This is what it can be pierced to the heart. And same way, and the C may be lots of further instructed that C may be in future sorry, C may be the favorite of our father, but due to the connection with him means that he will dishonor Daksha Prajapati, will dishonor Mother Parvati. That's the instruction from the Lord Shiva. So rather he advised her to remain at home, and he explained that he was always in trance meditation uh, on the Supreme Lord Vasudeva in full Krishna consciousness. He was always respectful to the super soul within. So then, what happened? When there's so much instructions, so Lord Shiva could not convince Mother Sati, and so then Sati felt very sorry at being forbidden to see her relatives at their father's house, and due to the affection for them, tears fell from her eyes. Shaking and very much afflicted, she looked at her uncommon husband, Lord Shiva, as if she were going to blast him with her vision. Thereafter, Sati left her husband, Lord Shiva, who had given her half his body due to affection, and so then bleeding very heavily because of anger and bewilderment, she went to the house of her father. This less intelligent act was due to her being a weak woman. Lord Shiva sent his associates along with her to accompany her. But when she reached the arena of the sacrifice, she was not welcomed by her father. Um, you know, uh, she had not welcomed by his father, present in the arena sacrifice. Sati saw that there was no oblations for her husband, Lord Shiva. Next, she realized that not only had her father failed to invite Lord Shiva, but when he saw Lord Shiva's exalted wife, Daksha didn't receive her either. Thus, she becomes greatly angry, and so much so that she looked at her father as if she were going to burn him with her eyes. And then what happened? So then, wanting to break all the ties with her father and uphold the honor of her husband, then Sati self-immolated. So that's the story we're going to, that's the past tense we're going to read in the next chapter. But I'm just giving the kind of the summary of what is going to happen in the next chapter also. So with this note, I'll stop here. Please forgive me if I made a mistake while explaining the